Sixers get the W in this one. James freaking Harden saves the Sixers season with a late corner three in overtime. We're breaking down top takes, player of the game, all that, and then some. If you're watching us live, comment, react with us. Sixers move on to game 5 tied, heading into Boston. Joining me, he is Sean Bernard. Follow him on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. What's up, Sean? I'm exhausted.
Yeah, never in doubt, right, fellas? Just how we planned it there. So, yeah, that was borderline almost the biggest collapse ever. I was going to put that as worse than the Hawks series if that one did not come through. But I guess they found a way. I guess we'll take the result. If you told me going into this series it would be 2-2 after 4 games, I'd be okay with it. Seems like it's been the most improbable route to get there, but you know what? We'll take it.
If they would have lost that game, that's Kawhi-esque. That's Kawhi, game winning shot-esque. Like I would have been destroyed. My soul would have been ripped to shreds. Yeah. Also joining us, he is the Tiago at TiagoPHL on Twitter. Awesome follow if you love the Sixers on Twitter. What's up, man?
What's going on, Chris? What's a Sixers playoff game without a complete collapse in a fourth quarter by a Doc Rivers-led team? So we're on brand as usual. And when I say James Harden saved everybody, he saved everybody.
Yeah.
Coach, MVP, high-paid player who doesn't show up in the fourth quarter. He saved everybody. I mean, everybody's going home after this if it wasn't from James Harden. He was unbelievable to save this thing, to say the least.
Yep. We're going to lead off with James Harden. Guys, if you're watching this live, please comment your reaction. I need a nap. I need 5 Valium. That's how I feel, man. These last 2 games, man, are just killing me. Yeah. Absolutely killing me. PJ and Harden may have just saved JoJo from a Sixers Twitter trade. That's what it felt like. We're gonna get into it. But Joel Embiid getting owned by Al Horford, like if the Sixers had lost this game, I never would have forgot that. Like that's something I would never forget. That would be imprinted in my brain for years. Unfortunately, Anthony says, "Is it me that Embiid lost focus and lazy since he won the MVP?" I mean,
let's stop with excuses, man. Like there's no excuses. You got to deliver. You got to deliver. You're the MVP player. There's no more excuses. The excuses ended with Ben Simmons. It ended with God knows what. Like you have to deliver. You have to deliver. Just the way that it is.
The worst part for me is I thought he looked pretty good in the early minutes of this game and the first part of it. And then it looked like he just hit a wall and Al Horford was just taking his lunch money, which would cause like physical pain to me to watch happening. Like I thought we were over this. I thought this was he's past this, that these are now the matchups he looks for. And then Horford really did get the better of him down the stretch. Embiid, I guess, had a couple moments over time. That pass to Harden was a very good basketball decision and well executed by him. Harden is for sure the guy that bailed everything out and deserves all the credit for today, no doubt.
Yeah, let's get into it. Here's Harden's shot chart in this one. There it is. Just like game 1, man. This is my problem, Tiago, is like you either get 1,000% Harden where he looks amazing, 40-plus points, hitting huge shots, hitting the pull-up, hitting threes, can't be stopped, making the right pass. And then you get like game 3 or game 2 where he's so indecisive and he's refusing to shoot in the paint. He's getting blocked. Can we just get 50% of this? And this is a totally different conversation in this series right now. I'll throw it to you, Sean. What was your take on James Harden tonight?
Yeah, he's a super confusing player for all those reasons. It's 0 to 100. You're getting the MVP level James Harden, or you're getting a guy who looks like he doesn't want to be there. Looks like he has nothing in the tank. That's what it's been in games 1 and tonight. We've seen the best version of James Harden. He's beating guys off the dribble. He's getting to the rim. He's creating separation. He's hitting step back threes, creating for others. Or we get the guy that's checked out. But he deserves all the flowers for tonight. I've been pretty down on this guy after the past 2 games for sure, and I still don't know what to fully make of him, but he's bailed the Sixers out big time and really stole them 2 games. So the Sixers needed James Harden to step up. He answered with that, and yeah, start to finish, he was the most important player in this game for the Sixers.
What about you, Tiago?
Yeah, I was really interested to see how he was going to attack tonight. I even wrote down on my notes, like, how is James Harden going to attack? And I started like trying to understand what that would look like because, I mean, game 3 was just unacceptable on all levels. So I thought what helped him early in the game was the fact that Jaylen Brown got 2 fouls.
Yeah,
eventually
100%.
kind of back away from Harden. And I thought that at that point, you got the full James Harden experience in terms of just attacking out of the pick and roll, attacking in isolation. Jaylen Brown is a really good defender. He's been the MVP of this series. He has been fantastic on both ends of the court. And I thought that without him on Harden, that physicality, you really got to see Harden go back to the game one, James in the mid-range. And I also think that with Paul Reed coming in, he likes to set those high screens up almost by mid-court.
Yeah.
Just gives Harden more space to operate, and it gives him a lot of momentum going downhill. So I think those two things early helped him get into the game. But I'll tell you this, in the fourth quarter overtime, man, unlike the rest of the team who hid all over the place, this guy wasn't hiding, man.
Yeah.
Guy had Jaylen Brown on him. He had late contested shot clock makes. He was unbelievable. He was Supermax James Harden once again. The Sixers are going home without this guy today. There's no other way to even paint this game besides that. So props to him. He was unbelievable.
I feel like when the Sixers are at their best is when they're pushing the pace. They're getting Embiid the ball faster and earlier in the shot clock, and he's moving the ball faster. That's like, I know we saw Tyrese dribble up the ball quite a bit in this one, which I think is a little different than usual, but like that's where this Sixers offense becomes completely stagnant, when they just stand around and they're all watching and the shot clock's going to 5 seconds and they just throw up a last second shot. When James Harden and the Sixers offense is clicking, it's when they get him the ball fast, get him the ball earlier in the shot clock, and get him moving. Any thoughts on that, Tiago?
I have a lot of thoughts about the Sixers offense. I think a lot. I mean, a lot. Like, a lot. I think what you saw in the last 8 minutes in overtime was exemplified every Doc Rivers led team in the postseason. I even made a note in the third quarter. You could see the Sixers offense just halting to a zero. It became isolation after isolation. They had a 16-point lead to work with, but you can already see everything falling. The cracks just start opening up.
Everyone felt it.
Everyone felt it.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And I'll tell you this. This is where I say the excuses with Embiid have to stop. Because you catch the ball with 17 seconds left in the shot clock, you make no moves, and you return the ball back with 5 seconds left in the shot clock. That is crushing to your offense. So I thought Embiid's indecisiveness, lack of production, put the Sixers in a huge offensive bind on multiple possessions. I even wrote it down. Like, is this guy going to move the ball or not? Because it was one after the other. So, yeah, you built the offense around your star-level MVP center. And when Boston took that away from him, like, that ball's got to move. It's got to move. And it wasn't moving in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't moving in the fourth quarter. The indecisiveness around Embiid and then Harris, it was embarrassing to watch, man. It was embarrassing to watch.
Quinn says just delaying the inevitable. Wow. I mean, I hear you, Quinn. I know what you're saying. Steven says, I used to think the winner of the series wins the final, but now I feel that both of these teams don't want to make it out of the conference. That was why I was so depressed during our post-game show in Game 3. Is like, Boston's beatable, man. Yeah. Like, in no area of this series has Boston looked like the dominant team. Yeah, they're good. 1,000 times more athletic. If there was like one take from this series, is that the Sixers have no wings or athletes can match up with Boston. No question. But they're not. That doesn't mean they're a top to bottom better basketball team. Steven says, I should be happy. I really should. I should be thinking about maybe the witch is dying, but I can't. Oh, God. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
The Al Horford shimmy after the dunk.
Oh, like, brutal.
Yeah.
I felt physical pain watching that. Being like, I can't believe that this is happening right now. So that really hurt. Another guy that I did want to bring up is Tyrese Maxey. I would have benched Tyrese Maxey down the stretch tonight. I don't understand it. I don't think I've ever seen him with such poor shot selection. Has been my biggest takeaway for him. I get it. This is a tough matchup for him. He struggled with it throughout his entire career. But like him throwing up the long threes, him also trying to take Robert Williams off the dribble, know the reputation of your matchup. What Robert Williams does is he's a premier shot blocker. That's the best area of his game. And there were a couple times that this has happened in this series. Other guys have tested Robert Williams too, and it's just like that's just not going to work. I saw it from Maxey. I was impressed Doc stuck with him. I would have gone with Melton and along with the other guys down the stretch. But yeah, I was not happy with what I saw from Maxey, and I don't really know what we can do to get that guy going more, but it has not been a good series for Maxey so far.
Yeah, he's really struggled in the paint, and
Yeah.
a lot of that's because of the length of Boston. I think a lot of it is also because just Boston's just such a disciplined team defensively that they know and expect that Maxey, once he gets the ball, he is going 1,000 miles an hour to the rim, and he has no change of pace. He has no ability to like hesitate or change gears just for a second, just to get his defender off balance. Maxey's just not there yet. I think we learned that the Sixers need athletes and wings, and B, Maxey's just not on the same timeline as Harden and Embiid.
Yeah.
Can I just make one point about Maxey? And this is not his fault. Late in the game and overtime, they were calling a Tatum Maxey switch on every trip down the court. I mean, Tatum got a layup out of it. They got open shots out of it. Smart hit a game winner out of it. It just came like a second late or half a second late. Where is the coaching?
Yeah.
I was screaming at the TV. They're targeting this guy. He cannot stay with Tatum. They got to send help defense. It was like on every trip down the court. They lucked out. And again, this is not to crap on Maxey, because when that switch comes, man, there's nothing he can do. So,
and he did compete. He competed with it, and
he did.
The Tatum dagger, that was an offensive foul. I do think he got pushed off. The arm did extend there, but I also get you can't be reliant on that call. Not to go into ref mode, but I can't believe that they gave a charge to Joel on the Marcus Smart one. I thought for sure he was moving, and then to not get the one on Tatum definitely
that was bad. Dude,
yeah,
dude, from the Al Horford shimmy to Embiid getting called for that offensive foul, and then Tatum clearly pushed, checking Tyrese Maxey off the court and doesn't get called, man. I was ready to go into a giant rant today, but we didn't get there, so that's good news.
Mm-hmm.
All right, some real comments quick, and then we're going to talk about what the hell did we see from the Sixers offense in the fourth quarter.
Not a lot.
Anthony says Toby Simmons disappeared. Maxey was worried. The entire Sixers team got scared and soft. Boston Superfan is in the house. What's going on, man? Saying Jaylen Brown deserves a statue for doubling off the corner. Kamar says, guess I'm not going to watch again next game. I'll just wait. Does that mean he didn't watch this game? I don't know. Let me know when they unveil the statue. Freddie says there was a moment when Embiid slipped and fell, but mid-play, Horford helped him off the floor. I thought that was odd, but then he went to kill mode on Embiid. Absolutely, man. That was really tough to watch. Really tough to watch. Anthony, PJ Tucker did what needed to be done. Embiid, that was massive. And that was off the Toby air ball, right?
Yeah.
I think the Boston was so caught off guard by how bad that shot was that it left PJ wide open.
It was their second best offense. It was literally PJ Tucker trying to win a rebound over 5 guys. That was their second best offense.
James Harden improving the game, the ISO game, and switching isolation play to create some spacing and shot selection of good players. All right. Harden pushes off all the time.
Agree. Tatum did on that one too.
You can't deny that was just a massive push off. There's no way you can deny that. That was not offensive on. All right,
come on now.
You're in timeout, Boston Superfan. You're in timeout for a little bit. Let's jump into what we saw from the Sixers' fourth quarter when this team got scared. They got soft. Like Tiago said, it was ISO heavy. Maxey was a letdown. Tobias Harris was a letdown. No one wanted to shoot. The offense became stagnant. No ball movement whatsoever. Here is Joel Embiid's shot chart in the fourth quarter. Holy shnikes, because 1 of 6 from the floor in the fourth quarter. If you took Maxey, Embiid, and Tobias combined in the fourth quarter, they were 1 of 10 from the floor. Talk about, the Sixers are at their best, especially when you're talking about winning playoff basketball. Your alphas have to step up. That's what it's about, man. and they didn't. I'll throw it to you, Tiago, first, because I know you got a lot of words on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a staple of what the Sixers have become under Joel and specifically under Doc Rivers. They're a team that collapses when they're pushed. They're a team that does not handle physicality well. There was a timeout where you could see ESPN made a big deal about it. It was Missoula saying, we got another level to go to, right? I think they were up like 8 or 10. And Missoula was talking about specifically about his own team. Boston came out and absolutely punched the Sixers in the mouth at home in front of the fans. And the Sixers totaled like they always do. They did it in game 3. They totaled against Miami when they got punched in the mouth. They totaled against Atlanta when they got punched in the mouth. So to say that this is not the staple of a Sixers-led team, then that's just not following history. I was hoping for the Sixers to punch back, and I would expect that the MVP, Joel Embiid, would be the guy doing the punching. That didn't happen. He looked as lost as he's ever looked as a Sixer. And then you start going down the line. Tobias Harris, like you said, Chris, just passing up shots in the corner. He wants no part of this offense, this series in particular. Had a horrendous defensive game. So yeah, it falls on James Harden to be the isolation king that he is. And when I talk about a Doc Rivers-led offense, I mean, you go back in the history of time, the only success Rivers ever had as a coach was when he had star-level isolation players winning games for him late in the games. And tonight, Harden did that. Is Harden going to be doing that in games 5, 6, and 7? I would bet against it, but if he does, man, he just saved a lot of people's jobs and a lot of people's careers. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it was an abomination of an overall performance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sean.
Yeah, I mean, so much of this offense is inherently isolation based when Joel Embiid and James Harden are your two best players. But when it goes bad, like it looks really, really bad because of that. And there's just not other guys that are either capable or willing to step up. Like Maxey has a little bit of juice in the way that he can get downhill or create his own shot. But like Tobias Harris wants no part of it. PJ Tucker wants no part of it. DeAnthony Melton, we absolutely don't want doing that. So there's not a lot of options when it's not going right. And we see that. Like they hit a wall for a stretch in that fourth quarter, outscored 24-15 in the period overall. It looked rough for a stretch. I'm still just grateful that they managed to grunt away to a win, but there was some super red flags for how that went down, no doubt.
Harden was 11 of 20 in the second half and overtime. Wow. 11 of 20. That's magical stuff, man. And I killed this guy on our last show.
and just one more point, because I'm going to go defensively, because you see Boston play with a level of championship detail on their defense, right? You talk about guys rotating. Watch Boston defend the pick and roll. Like guys switch and they get up on your face. Watch when the ball rotates. Guys are sprinting down the other corner and contesting. There's none of that in Philly's defense. None. And that starts with leadership on the court. Your best player should be the one anchoring that leadership. I mean, the Sixers, they got lucky. Boston scored 130 points. There were wide open shots in transition, wide open shots off the pick and roll. It's just Boston had a really poor start shooting wise. But in the second half, man, things evened out. And that game winner that Smart hit, that was a wide open Smart three. So again, it goes back to detail, defensive championship effort that this team has never, ever displayed, ever. So to expect it to change now, it's a little bit far-fetched, but maybe all those film sessions that ESPN talked about in their broadcast, like they talked about 6 or 7 times, maybe it'll pay off eventually. So we'll see.
Yeah, Jason Tatum's got a Harvard level basketball.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
I was like, really?
God, how many times did they have to bring that up? They at least a handful of times.
You must have got those certificates online that you can get.
But another thing defensively that's been super frustrating is just how easily the Sixers are getting collapsed and open for three. It feels like majority of the defensive shot clock, they're just scrambling around trying to catch up for their own mistakes. And it's been every single game and feels like just about every possession. And a lot of it is self-inflicted of the Sixers overhelping or doubling when they shouldn't have to and shifting around. And that's stuff that just needs to be cut out. Like those open three-pointers, which are happening over and over again, you just aren't going to survive. That continues to be the case. And we see it for stretches. That's why Boston came back in a large way, is that it's just efficient offense, the way that they're able to break down the Sixers, dish out, and create that. And the Sixers are making it way too easy for them to let that happen.
Yep. All right. Let's go into player of the game. Tiago, you go first.
Chris, if anybody else picks James Harden out of this, revoke their Sixers pass. No, I'm just joking. I mean, I'm just gonna. I'll say James Harden. I'll leave you guys at all the color. There's no world where anybody else is a player of the game in this game. He was everything from specifically the fourth quarter on. They don't even come close to pulling this out without Harden tonight.
Yeah, he saved the season. James Harden did.
Yes, exactly.
No question. What about you, Sean? Who's your player of the game?
Give me George Niang as my player of the game, and a guy that I think we all three were on the same page. Deserves
I
no
like
part.
it. I like it.
I didn't think he deserved a role in the rotation for this series. I still think this is a brutal matchup for it, but you know what? Played 19 minutes, hit 3 threes, purely buckets, 9 points. Niang provided a spark, a shooting spark that they needed today. So he got the job done. And shout out Doc for trusting him. Shout out Niang for delivering. So I'll give him the love today.
Shout out for not listening to me too, because like no parts of myself that I want George Niang in this series, and he's hung. Like there's been moments, especially defensively, he's not been killed. He has competed, absolutely. And I think we saw some George Niang at the end of the game here, and not Tobias on the court as well. And you know, it's just a crazy thought. Like put Niang over PJ Tucker because at least they can't abandon Niang in the corner, right? Is that a bad take?
I will say Tucker has looked more willing. I think specifically after Doc benched him in game 3. What did he shoot tonight? He had 1 for 4 from 3, 2 for 5 from the field. That big and one was the bucket there. But he's shown a little bit more of a willingness, which is you just have to be willing to shoot it. Like you can't let it be that easy. But yeah, I don't hate it. Niang has probably the quickest trigger on this entire team, and just unconscious and willing to let it fly, which is a huge thing. They need that.
My player of the game, and Anthony was already in my head with the comment. I don't have anybody else, and I'm going to go Dr. Irving with that. That might be the photo of the playoffs if the Sixers can somehow pull this out, because that was a great moment. I was laughing my ass off. Dr. J, man, look at that. It's terrific. And channeling his inner Grogu or something like that. It's terrific. But that basically wraps it up. I'll throw it to you, Sean, first. Final thoughts, plugs. What do you got going on, man?
Yeah, it was an ugly game, but we'll take it. A win is a win. 2-2, head to Boston. Got to steal 1 there. So we'll see what happens. We stay fighting. But yeah, you can check out my work. Check out Pick Swap Media. I'll be dropping a podcast later tonight with my co-host James with a little, I guess, probably more composed and thoughts on this matchup. You can check that out. And then catch me on Fox 1025 The Gambler as well. Follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1.
Awesome, man. The season continues. Tiago.
Yeah. Chris, I don't know if you're like a prayer man, if you're a spiritual man, if you're a above the heavens man. Six are gonna have to muster all of that energy for a game 5, man. I'll tell you this right now. I will tip my hat and I will give them all the respect if they go into Boston and pull this out. It looks messy right now. It looks very messy. I don't know how many days they have between games 4 and 5. They have to get a lot of things right to get right in this series. I didn't expect them to be just falling apart in moments like this against Boston. I thought this was a thing of the past against the Celtics, but I perhaps should have paid more attention. They can win if they hit shots, man. I mean, it's the best when they look because the ball was kicking and guys were shooting, but I don't know. So yeah, let's hope that the heavens come down and still wins for game 5. So we'll see.
You're muted.
You're muted, Chris.
I'm back. My final thoughts is there's still hope. I was like doom and gloom, man. These last 36 hours have been really rough, at least on me. I was already like making up Embiid trades and things like that. Yeah. I was hurt.
You brought up Nurkic in the chat, in our Slack chat. I was like, what?
I went to Portland. I went to OKC. I went to Orlando. I was all over the place.
Once I saw Nurkic's name, I'm like, I'm putting this down. I
can't. Just got to get that contract. Turbo says, congrats on your win. James Harden needed to step up. That's what they needed to do, and they came through. Yeah, absolutely agree, man. Plugs, I dropped 5 position rankings on the 2024 NFL draft. Go check that out. Tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, cornerbacks, and I know I'm missing one. Just go check it out. So if you love the draft, just quick summary of my favorite prospects for next year. And yeah, we'll be back again for next post game. Man, it's going to be a wild one. Again, follow my man Sean over there at Sean_Bernard1 and Tiago at Tiago PHL. Pick Swap Media, Fox Sports The Gambler, the Tiago. I'm Dibes for Sean, for Tiago, for myself. Stay awesome.